Hello everyone, I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And this is the book that I'll be sharing from, Tales My Lama Told Me. This is by Pastor David Lai, and the stories were told to him by our Guru, His Eminence, the 25th Sam Tuku Rinpoche. And I'll be reading from chapter 18, Runaway. That's page 199. So let me share with you a picture of this is Rinpoche with his guru. Right, chapter 18, Runaway. And this is what a comment by Pastor David. Rinpoche has always been very honest and candid about his own shortcomings. He reminds us always that he is human and he too has his passions and shortcomings, just like the rest of us. However, Rinpoche's biggest passion is the Dharma, and he does hold the title of Rinpoche, which means precious teacher. This places a huge responsibility on his shoulders to be better than everyone else. However, just like an ordinary person, he too wanted to give up many times because the challenges that he faced seemed too big and difficult to handle. Fortunately, he managed to brave through these experiences and learned some important lessons. This story is about the lessons he learned. And this is where Rinpoche began. While I was at Ganden Monastery, I ran away several times. I'm not proud to reveal this, but I did it a few times. I packed my bags and left the monastery in the middle of the night because I just couldn't take it anymore. I was tired of the poverty, mosquitoes, the lack of running water, and I also really missed electricity. I was tired of the philosophy classes that I couldn't understand very well because I didn't speak Tibetan. The classes went on for hours. My legs killed me from sitting on the floor for hours, and I never had enough sleep. I had a big problem with sleep at the monastery because I had insomnia for most of my life. I usually couldn't sleep until about 3 a.m., and we would have to be up by 5 a.m. for pujas every day. This happened for years, and I could not take it anymore. I suffered tremendously. Sometimes there would be several pujas being conducted at the same time, and they would go on for all day long. The monthly Satrap Puja in Ganden goes on for 2 full days. It would start somewhere around 5 a.m. and finish around 11 p.m. for 2 full days a month. Fortunately, we still have the luxury of taking a nap during the 2-hour break. The rest of the day would be puja. I love Satrap, but I used to dread getting up in the mornings. I could not stand the lack of sleep anymore. I used to ask my guru, who was the abbot of the monastery at the time, "Can't you just change the puja schedule?" I explained to him, "We can have the pujas in the evening instead. What's the difference? There is no light early in the morning, and there is no light when it gets dark in the evening, so it's the same." I thought that doing the puja in the morning or in the evening would be the same because there was no light either way. He just glared at me when I said that, then told me to practice the Dharma. I persisted by saying, half the time during the puja, it's all dark anyway. When we leave the puja, it's still dark. Can't we just start at night, finish in the morning before the sun comes up? What's the difference? He screamed at me, "You're crazy." He didn't even try to explain to me how ridiculous my comment was because it was my ego speaking. It was all about what I wanted. I wanted them to adjust everything for me. That was how I was thinking then in the monastery. I couldn't take it, so I ran away 3 times and I was caught each time by the disciplinary monk and literally dragged by my bags, with my bags back to the monastery and to my guru. I would be so scared to walk into his room when I got back. I would be trembling. I was scared because deep down inside, I knew what I have done. Instead of facing myself, I decided to take the easy way out by trying to run away. That was why I was so scared. I knew Kensho Rinpoche was going to scream at me for that. Whenever he screamed at me, it was always very loud. It was so loud you could hear him from the other rooms. I felt really embarrassed because I am a Rinpoche and I was being screamed at. How can a Rinpoche be wrong? I would be taken on a big ego trip each time my teacher yelled at me. Yes, he used to scream at me really loudly, and I would become totally embarrassed. All the other monks who went to puja the next day would walk by and look at me as if they knew. Some of them would stop other monks and tell their friends, he got screamed at. They would give full details to their friends and make sure the others knew. I wanted to tell them to be real monks and just keep quiet. Now everybody would know what happened to me. Sam Rinpoche got screamed at. I would think defensively, wait till I tell Kensho Rinpoche about them. But of course, it never works that way. Kensho Rinpoche is not stupid. I wouldn't have been able to manipulate Kensho Rinpoche like that, but I still tried anyway. I went up to Kensho Rinpoche and whispered in his ear, "Oh, guess what I heard about this monk?" He would look at me and say, "Who cares? Go and do your sadhana." I knew he would say that, so I added, "Don't you want to know about your students? Don't you care?" He said, "Of course I care. That's why I'm doing my sadhanas." My plan didn't work out, so I went back to my room in defeat. You see, I can teach you all about these delusions and mind games so well because I have experienced them all and I learned from them. It's not because I'm a holy living Buddha. No, I have gone through them too. I've tried all types of tricks so my ego would win and I could escape my responsibilities. Don't think that I went to the monastery, stayed there for a while, and became all holy. Don't think that now I came out here to teach you guys because I'm the living Buddha. I ran away from Ganden many times before. I thought about running away countless times, and I am not the only monk who tried to run away. Yes, I thought about running away many times because it was really tough there. However, fortunately, I did stay. I guess my spiritual commitment and conviction were stronger than I thought. I had never returned to the United States since I left in 1987, and I have no plans to return. Although I've never had any plans to return, there are many things I miss about the States. However, when I really think about it, I can still live without them. Now that I'm living in Malaysia, I still long for familiar American pop culture, like certain uniquely American expressions, colloquialism, and the way people act or talk. I do miss it a lot sometimes, but when I think deeper, it is really nothing. If I did go back to America, what would I do there? I could enjoy myself for 2 or 3 weeks, then come back here and realize that I'm facing the same thing all over again. I find that a waste of time. I might as well control my mind and forgo that. There was a time in my youth when I became very disillusioned. I was so frustrated. I think I'll stop here and continue on with that for my next sharing because that one will take a while. So today is a very short one. And yes, I was very surprised when I learned that Rinpoche actually ran away from the monastery because during serving Rinpoche, I mean, during serving, Rinpoche in Kachara itself, there had been times when I felt, I wanted to leave. And it's like totally illogical. Sometimes it's like, I just don't understand why I get that feeling. And, there's no reason actually, that I feel like running away. Whereas Rinpoche actually had that reason of, like being uncomfortable with the conditions and all that. But I didn't. So, and I do have that, I had that feeling of, always like wanting to leave. So now, learning about this story, that Rinpoche actually ran away, well, it kind of surprised me, but I am glad that I did not actually give in to those thoughts, because I think it was just mostly actually, I would say, that it would be ego, that if we were to succumb to it. And I am glad that I stayed and served Rinpoche, until the very end. So anyway, that's my sharing. And thank you for joining me. And please do join me as I continue on with Rinpoche's sharing of his, times when he had to face certain things. And now I understand, well, okay, as I mentioned before, Rinpoche's life is really a teaching to us. So as he has gone through everything that basically all of us have excuses about. So in his experiencing them, it kind of puts us in a spot where if Rinpoche can overcome all those, we should be able to, and there's no excuses for us not to. So, okay. Now we'll end this with a completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangyo Sencho Rinpoche, Make Panam Geishi, Ke Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Toni Toa Rinpoche, Make Panam Geishi, Ke Panam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Daso Jini Sapage Wadi, Tandandro Aguna Kampadang, Jepa Jesu no Santrapai, Tamping Imporindu Sa Se Sho, Ke Wakuntu Yandala Madan, Drami Choki Pala Lo Choching, Sadam Nangi Yote Razone, Doje Changi Ngopangotuso, Ke Wadi Yududa, Lama Sangyudru Yone, Drewa Chikia Malupa, Dei Salago Pashu, Choki Pusongkapa, Chosunampa Pewala, Geki Samasiwada, Dongi Malo Sangwasho, Dadam Sengi Dosundan, Drewe Songi Latine, Gewalo Sandrapai, Tampayu Riva, Gyushi, Nimo Dele Sendele, Nimi Gunyandele, Nisentato Dele Pel, Concho Sungi Jingilo, Concho Sungi Ngodruso, Concho Sungi Trasi Sho. Jesu nama kusen rapting ching nam katrini chochu ke padang lo sam tempe dro mi sap sungi dro e mun sa ta to ni yu shi gang re ra we ko we shin kam de pen nan de wa ma lu gyo ne chen ren ze wan ten sing get so yi cha pe shi de ba du deng yu shi hom tom pe ngo tru ma lo pa den de da la sa du so ko dan den pa long shot nam ke pa so shik shuk ten sao. Thank you. See you for my next session.